DIY porcelain clay, all you're gonna need is some 100% cornstarch, some vinegar, PVA school glue, and some mineral oil. But if you don't have mineral oil, don't worry, you can also use baby oil, or you can even just use some olive oil. And we're going to need a pot that you can put on the stove to heat it up. We're gonna need a spatula, a fork to mix it, measuring spoon, measuring cup, another measuring cup, and a rolling pin. And that's all you're gonna need to make your own DIY porcelain clay. Now for this recipe, you can always double it if you want more. I am going to do today's recipe with a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And we're gonna just put it right into the saucepan. A 1/4 cup of school glue. 1/4 cup. And add it right into that cornstarch. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of the vinegar. And what the vinegar does, it just helps prevent mold, and it also increases the shelf life. 1 teaspoon. And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of that mineral oil. And again, you can use baby oil or you can use olive oil if you have any. And that's what's going to give it that smooth texture that we love with that cold porcelain clay. And then we're just going to take our fork and we're just going to incorporate that together really well. And you don't need to worry if there's some lumps in it, because a lot of that is going to disappear once we get finished cooking it and we start kneading it. So just incorporate it together the best that you can. Once you have it all incorporated together, you want to take it to your stove and you want to put it on medium to high heat, depending on how your burners work, and keep continually stirring. And you're going to see as it heats up that it's going to start to pull away from the sides of your pot and start to form a ball. But you have to make sure that you are always stirring it. You don't want it to scorch on the bottom. You can also do this in a microwave if you have a microwave bowl, and put it in increments at 2 minutes at a time until you have the same result of it coming away from the bowl and continually stirring in between. So as you can see now, it's starting to come away from the sides of the pot and starting to form into a ball. It happens really quickly. Do not walk away and leave this. Just continually keep stirring because it cooks really quickly. You can see already the texture. I'm actually going to take it off the burner right now because you can see the texture, how it's kind of forming into a ball. We're going to turn this off actually. I think we are good for heating it up. Okay, excellent. So now what you want to do is you just want to set it aside and let it cool down for about 5 or 10 minutes. I've let the clay cool down for about 10 minutes. Now we're going to get that cornstarch again. I promise you, we're not going to make a mess this time because we're just going to pour it on the table. Put a little bit on the table and then put our clay into it, and you want to start kneading it. This is where you're going to get it nice and smooth and create that porcelain-like texture. And if you're finding that it's sticky and it's not working really well, add more cornstarch into it and really knead it in. I've also seen people use a little bit of hand cream, and that creates a nice smooth texture also. But mine right now is really good. I don't think I need to add anything to it. I think I've got enough cornstarch here. But you can see the texture and how white and brilliant it is. Now, we could have, if you want to, we could have added some acrylic paint into this recipe. while we were mixing it, and then you would have had a colored clay, or you can just make it like this and you can paint it after. That's a really great way to make some really pretty little pieces of clay that you can turn into shapes and paint all kinds of different colors. So I think we've kneaded this pretty good. It's really smooth. And at this point, what you want to do is just grab your rolling pin. Now remember, I just made a really small batch to show you how to make this porcelain clay recipe. Of course, double it, triple it if you want a bigger amount, but I find that for me, I just make the amount that I need for the recipe, and then I don't have to worry about it storing and not holding up well. This does store in a plastic baggie in the refrigerator for a couple weeks. It is going to shrink a little bit, probably between 10 and 15%. So you want to avoid putting it on a project and not taking that into account, that it's maybe going to shrink just a little bit. And this is not waterproof. If you do not seal it, if you get water on it, then it's not going to hold up well. So if you want to make it a little bit waterproof, you can seal it after you're all done with it with I like using a polyacrylic spray or a varnish, or you can even seal it up with Mod Podge. I find the Mod Podge though is not going to hold up as well and be waterproof as using one of those other two products. If it does start to crack, what you can do, you can put a little bit of hand cream on your hands and just work it into the clay, and that's going to rehydrate it and allow you to work with it a little bit longer if you need to. But I wouldn't use anything other than hand cream. Don't use water. That will not work as well. So we're just rolling it. You want to roll it to about 1/4 inch thickness. And then you can just start using your clay. You can get some cookie cutters. I've got some cookie cutters here. Now, before you press them into the clay, you might want to just coat the bottom of them with a little bit of cornstarch. Press it in and see how detailed that is? It's just really beautiful. Now we might want to, let's see if we can get another flower cut out of this one. Put some cornstarch on it. Press it in. And that one's not perfect, but you get the idea and how beautiful and white it is. And you can also use some DIY molds. I have a full tutorial on how you can make your own molds. And if you'd like to make some, I'll put that link down below in the description. I'll also put a QR code right here and you can check that out. But you can basically roll this clay out, put it in a mold, pull it out, and the detail of this is fantastic. You want to put a little bit of cornstarch in the mold so it's going to release well for you. And I'll just show you. I'll press this in. Pull the mold away. And see the detail? Isn't that beautiful? And this is what you're going to have when it's all dry. So if you haven't made any of this cold porcelain clay before, give this recipe a try. It's fantastic. I love it. It's probably one of my favorites, especially if you're trying to do DIY projects that you need a real intricate shape that you can use with this clay. You can roll it and it's fantastic. If you want to store your clay and you have some left over, I like to take just a little bit of hand cream, rub it in my hands, rub it on the outside of the clay, and it's just going to kind of lubricate it, keep it nice and soft, throw it in a zippy bag, seal it up, and put it in your fridge until you're ready to use it for your next DIY project. And it's going to stay in the fridge for a couple weeks. And there we have some finished pieces. I've let these dry overnight. And of course, the drying time is going to be determined on your weather and your temperature, but typically it does take about 24 hours. So if you've tried this recipe before, let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed it and what your favorite clay is. And if not, get your supplies together and make one of these batches of cold porcelain clay today.